China's era of buying the world ends, Beijing and Shanghai overwhelmed by unemployment wave. Foxconn returns to Zhengzhou. Did workers' wages skyrocket? NHK Chinese Broadcaster's sudden remark sparks major uproar. Sudden flood hits Jianchang, Liaoning, multiple villages lose contact, entire county suspends work and production. In this day and age, even roads can be stolen, entire cement road disappears overnight. It's all covered in today's China Truths. China's era of buying the world ends, Beijing and Shanghai overwhelmed by unemployment wave. Amid a surge in unemployment and wage cuts, Chinese social media is abuzz with waves of economic bad news, even from major cities like Beijing and Shanghai. The spotlight is on an article entitled "Has the Big Wave of Layoffs and Pay Cuts in 2024 Really Arrived?", which has captured widespread attention. The piece, penned by an employee of a Beijing state-owned enterprise, reveals that the long-feared layoffs and pay reductions have materialized. The author explains, the minimum wage in Beijing is 2,300 yuan a month, about $322 and 61 cents, but quarterly rent is 10,000 yuan, about $1,403. Even if we hand over our entire salary, we're still short by 3,000 yuan, about $420 and 80 cents. We're all stunned. Some colleagues are now facing mortgage defaults with no idea what to do next. Echoing these sentiments, a China Railway employee from Beijing says, "It's all too common. China Railway is a well-known large company, but things are just as bad there. Sometimes, they can't even pay a single penny." People from outside Beijing express disbelief. Does Beijing really have such low wages, and is it true that jobs in Beijing only pay 2,400 yuan? That's shocking. In Shanghai, it's reported that SAIC Motor is carrying out mass layoffs, leaving many in their 40s and 50s needing to find new jobs. One person wrote in despair, "The job market in Shanghai is terrible right now." Even state-owned enterprise employees with over a decade of service are being laid off, half of them gone. Most people feel exhausted and underpaid. Are we all headed for gig work like Japan's lost generation? Pursuing aspirations in this environment feels like a joke. If Beijing and Shanghai are facing these challenges, other cities are faring even worse. The current unemployment crisis harkens back to the massive layoffs of the 1990s. A Beijing resident recalls, "The last time we saw unemployment on this scale was during the mass layoffs from 1993 to 1998, when many families couldn't even afford high school tuition. It was tough. Who would have thought 30 years later it's happening to us again?" From Hebei, another voice shares, "This year's job market is horrifying. People who have dedicated over a decade to a company are suddenly jobless. The current unemployment rates rival those of the past mass layoffs, but now, there's no opportunity left." The sudden end to China's real estate-driven economic boom has caught many off guard. The vulnerabilities of a real estate-dependent economy have led to a stark decline in Chinese consumer power. An article by the self-media outlet Black Noise suggests that unlike other countries where economic crises typically start with the financial sector, in China, a drop in consumer power has precipitated the downturn. Previously, the Chinese had a mindset of buying the world, but now, sectors across the real economy are experiencing up to a 50% decline, leading to confusion over the rapid fall in consumer power. The author details how, prior to 2019, Chinese consumer strength was buoyed by the wealth effects of real estate. This created a frenzy of wealth accumulation, with a focus on property buying and wealth appreciating schemes, lowering the overall quality of industries and reducing the number of people earning through skill-based work. Using small businesses as an example, the author compares how in Europe, most storefronts are uniquely designed and have been operating for decades. Many even have personal websites, treating small businesses like enterprises. In contrast, Chinese small businesses tend to blindly follow trends, offering poor quality products, and most people just ride the wave for a few years. Workers have weak growth potential, while university graduates are overly focused on passing civil service exams. In conclusion, as the real estate market plummeted and the wealth bubble burst, the foundational income and innovative capacities of the youth were already depleted by an inadequate and exploitative educational system. Foxconn returns to Zhengzhou. Did workers' wages skyrocket? As the release of the Apple iPhone 16 nears, Foxconn's Zhengzhou facilities are buzzing with activity. In the past 2 weeks alone, over 50,000 new workers have joined the factory, with expectations for numbers to continue rising. To incentivize workers, Foxconn offers a straightforward compensation strategy: 25 yuan, about $3.51 per hour, and an additional 7,500 yuan, about $1,052 bonus for completing 3 months of work. This comes following a new cooperation deal between Foxconn CEO Liaoning and Hunan provincial leaders, involving a 1 billion yuan, about $140.3 million USD, investment to build a new headquarters. This has reignited discussions about Foxconn's recent operational shifts to Vietnam and India, with public sentiment that the company shouldn't find it too easy to come back. This sentiment is further fueled by an old video of Terry Go, prompting the question, now, who really depends on whom? Many believe Foxconn's rush to return to mainland China stems from less than smooth operations in India and Vietnam. At its peak, Zhengzhou produced 300 million smartphones a year, a figure that dropped to 143 million by 2023. This year's first quarter saw a significant 60% reduction in Hunan smartphone exports from the previous year, largely high-priced units likely to be iPhones. Supply chain issues have also surfaced. In 2023, only 2.5% of the components for the iPhone 15 were made in China, a decline from 4.7% for the iPhone 12, with this year's figures still pending. The production situation in India and Vietnam is reported to be less than ideal. In 2023, roughly 13% of Apple's production was in India, where Foxconn has been especially proactive, setting up a new factory in India's version of the Xiongnu area and investing $600 million in a facility for iPhone casings. However, a visit by international media revealed inconsistencies, such as a factory owner praising the constant power supply under Modi's government, only for the power to be cut out moments later. The Indian economy grew 8.2% in the first quarter, primarily driven by infrastructure and manufacturing, showing a strong desire to tackle existing challenges. Cultural differences have also led to significant challenges. For instance, Indian workers struggled to understand why a 30-minute disruption on the production line would infuriate Foxconn executives so intensely. Moreover, local legislation was adjusted to extend the working day from 8 to 12 hours to support companies like Foxconn. This change sparked protests, with opponents burning legal documents in the streets, causing local companies to hesitate before enforcing the new work schedule. Foxconn executives are facing unexpected challenges in India, from workers unfamiliar with basic tools like tweezers to even their slow walking pace, which has left management puzzled. One Apple supplier manager in India commented, "Apple's been spoiled by China." As Apple remains committed to its China Plus One strategy, Foxconn's management had to adapt quickly. For the audiences who may not know, the China Plus One strategy is an approach adopted by companies to diversify their supply chains and reduce dependency on China. While China remains a central manufacturing hub due to its established infrastructure and expertise, companies also establish operations in other countries, the Plus One, such as Vietnam, India, or Indonesia. Back to our topic, Foxconn's management discovered that female workers generally caused fewer issues than their male counterparts, but they often contributed to collective anxiety. For many women, factory work provides a chance to delay marriage and gain independence from family pressures. On the assembly lines, you can even find highly educated women, some with MBA degrees. Initially, they recruited female workers under 30, but later they lowered the age limit to 28, which caused anxiety among many of the local female workers. They worried they'd be deemed too old and fired, so they started working even harder. A local female worker interviewed by a journalist mentioned that at first, she could only tighten 300 screws, but now she's up to 750. After some adjustments, local Foxconn staff reported that production quality is nearly on par with that in China. But the real question remains, have wages at Foxconn's Zhengzhou plant truly skyrocketed? A look at recent recruitment ads tells a different story. Hourly wages have actually dropped from 31 yuan to 25 yuan this year, approximately from $4.25 to $3.52 USD, with the 3-month bonus reduced by nearly 3,000 yuan, around $420.80 USD. NHK Chinese Broadcaster's sudden remark sparks major uproar. NHK, the Japan Broadcasting Corporation, has announced a shift from live to recorded broadcasts for its international Chinese service following a controversy. The uproar began when a Chinese broadcaster, after reporting on vandalism at the Yasukuni Shrine, stated his personal opinion that the Diaoyu Islands are Chinese territory during a subsequent report. This comment, deemed inappropriate and unrelated to the news manuscript, led to NHK issuing a public apology. The statement emphasized that broadcasting unrelated comments was unacceptable and promised preventive measures against future occurrences. NHK revealed that the broadcaster, a man in his 40s of Chinese nationality, has been employed since 2002 by an outsourcing agency responsible for translating and broadcasting news. The motives of the broadcaster, who has over 20 years of experience, remain unknown. Following the incident, NHK lodged a formal protest with the outsourcing agency, which has decided to terminate the broadcaster's contract. Akio Yaida, a seasoned Japanese journalist, remarked, "These incidents have significantly impacted public sentiment in Japan. NHK is our public broadcaster, supported by every Japanese taxpayer. This incident hasn't just damaged NHK's credibility, it has also cast a serious negative light on the image of Chinese people living in Japan." Sudden flood hits Jianchang, Liaoning, multiple villages lose contact, entire county suspends work and production. Between August 18 and 20, heavy rainfall and thunderstorms swept across western and southern Liaoning. Jianchang County, along with several other townships, recorded exceptionally high rainfall levels. On August 20, extreme rainfall led to widespread damage and emergency measures across the region. The flood submerged roads and swept away vehicles. The situation is critical, with reports of entire villages losing contact. In one video circulating online, floodwaters surged through the streets, causing significant destruction. Houses are submerged, and residents are seen struggling as vehicles get swept away. Some locals are stranded on rooftops, anxiously awaiting rescue. In one video from Han Tun Village, Dayton Town, a man is heard urgently calling for help. He said, "There are people on those rooftops, just about to be swept away. If rescue comes, it needs to come fast, or more people will be carried off by the flood." One village is almost half submerged already, with people stranded on rooftops, and the water level is nearly at the roofs. A woman filming another video said, "The house is flooded, you can't even see the iron sheet roof anymore, and everything inside has basically been washed away." Authorities have confirmed that communication in Jianchang has been severely disrupted, with 4 villages completely cut off. Helicopters have been deployed to rescue those trapped, while work and production across the county have been suspended. On the morning of August 20, the Jianchang County Media Center announced that all non-essential activities would be halted due to the extreme weather. The neighboring city of Qinhuangdao, Hebei, is also experiencing severe flooding. Streets have turned into rivers, and vehicles are submerged in water. Rural homes have been inundated, with residents reporting that water has entered living spaces. On social media, there has been an outpouring of concern. Netizens from Liaoning are urgently calling for rescue efforts, with many expressing fears for missing family members. Messages like Jianchang County has completely lost contact and please send rescue immediately are widespread. Others from cities like Tianjin and Beijing are desperately seeking updates on the situation. Meteorological reports indicate that heavy rain is expected to continue, with some areas potentially experiencing over 350 millimeters of rainfall. On August 20th, multiple townships in Huludao experienced communication outages, with several villages losing contact altogether. At least 6,000 people have been urgently evacuated, though details about casualties remain unknown. Meanwhile, in Guangzhou, consecutive days of heavy rain triggered a pipe burst and subsequent backflow in the Xiaoyuan community section of Shirtan town in Zhengzhou district. This incident led to a dike breach that, by the 20th, had expanded to 50 meters, inundating surrounding villages and towns, and inflicting heavy losses on the local population. The recent flooding has reignited discussions about upstream reservoir discharges. Commenting on the frequent floods in mainland China this year, Dr. Wang Weiluo, a renowned water management expert based in Germany, pointed out in an article published in Yibao that from April to late June 2024, southern China experienced extensive and severe rainstorms and floods, affecting multiple provinces, including Guangdong. Dr. Wang further noted that unannounced reservoir discharges are a major cause of severe flooding in southern China, citing examples like 4 reservoirs in Guilin, 2 in Meizhou, the Huangshan Reservoir, and 4 reservoirs in Hubei, all discharging without prior warning. As rescue efforts continue, the situation remains dire, with widespread damage and communications still disrupted. In this day and age, even roads can be stolen. Entire cement road disappears overnight. A bizarre theft incident was recently reported in Jiaoling District, Nancheng City, Sichuan Province, where a suspect illegally removed an entire section of a cement road overnight and sold it as gravel material. Local residents were shocked by the disappearance of the road, which took place in an area that had been largely vacated due to village relocation. The suspect, who has since been detained, is said to have taken advantage of the area's sparse population to carry out the crime. According to information from the Jiaoling District Public Security Bureau, after receiving reports from villagers, the police arrived at the scene and discovered that a 120-meter stretch of road had been completely dug up, leaving only exposed soil. Investigations quickly led to the identification and arrest of a man surnamed Zhang, who admitted during questioning that he stole the road to sell it for financial gain. Zhang reportedly claimed he had received authorization to remove the road, a statement proven to be false. On August 17, reporters from Huaxi Metropolis Daily and Cover News visited the scene in Jinan Village, Heshi Town, where the theft occurred. The road segment is located near the Heshi Industrial Park and connects to Jinan Road, spanning approximately 400 meters. Currently, the area is deserted, with only a few residents returning to farm idle land left after the village relocation. Residents familiar with the situation revealed that the road was initially constructed and paved by a local gravel businessman. However, following the village's relocation due to industrial development, the road was largely unused. Online discussions surrounding the incident have sparked widespread attention, with many netizens expressing disbelief at the idea of an entire road being stolen. Comments range from shock at the audacity of the theft to skepticism about the financial benefit of such a crime, with many questioning whether the effort was worth the limited returns. The case remains under further investigation as police continue to gather evidence and determine the extent of the crime. Don't forget to comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. If you find the information helpful, please share this video with a friend to watch together. This will be a great source of motivation for our team to produce more and more quality and reliable videos. And also don't forget to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths. Thank you for tuning in.